I don't know what you can do with that. We're doing a live on SpaceX's launch, guys.
Of course, these incredible views mean we are just a little bit past 30 minutes,
Just had to
30
show it.
seconds into our ninth
Anybody
onboard
wanna come
Dragon
in? Here
and
it
Falcon
is.
9 with good
Come
call
get
outs
you a
from Mission
Falcon
Control
9.
that everything is looking good.
Whoa, we got that thing going, dude.
With that, stage 1 is throttling down to pass through max Q, which is the period of maximum dynamic pressure on Falcon 9 during ascent.
My voice sounds horrible right now.
Max Q.
Confirmation of max Q.
Real lot of echo. I gotta get the microphone over here.
Vehicle is supersonic.
And that Falcon 9 is now traveling faster than the speed of sound.
Stage 1 throttle up.
Rescue. Are you in the room yet?
Stage 1 Bravo.
Ryan's on his way, guys. Just let you know.
Copy 1 Bravo.
Copy 1 Bravo.
That call out for 1 Bravo means we're in the second and final abort mode for the first stage and continuing to get good performance.
MVAC chill is underway.
And it's starting to
Crew
fall
is
backwards.
pulling just over 2 Gs at this point. Next up, we heard the engine chill on the second stage MVAC engine has begun,
Beautiful,
and then
man.
we will have MECO, or main engine cutoff,
History in
where
the
the 9
making.
engines on the first
Rescue
stage
mission
will cut off ahead of the
preps,
first and the second
astronauts
stages, and
on
then
the
will
space
separate
station.
from one another. Then
Then
that
the
single
flames
Merlin
look so
vacuum
real.
engine on the second stage will ignite and continue to carry Crew 9 to orbit while
There's
the first
the
stage
flames on
begins
the
its journey
rocket.
back to Earth.
You gotta keep them separated.
2 minutes in, and the crew is now traveling over 2,600 miles per hour.
Wow. 2,600 miles an hour, dude.
Stage 1 is throttling down.
Confirmation there from Mission Control that stage 1 is throttling down as we prepare for main engine cutoff, followed shortly thereafter by stage separation and second engine
Main
start
engine
1.
cutoff is coming up now.
You did hear Mission Control out
Boy.
that we are chilling our
MECO.
There's confirmation of MECO.
Stage
Oh,
separation
MECO.
confirmed.
Whoa. Look at the Earth curve just changed, guys. Look at there.
Stage 2 Alpha.
MVAC ignition.
The higher they get, the more it
Copy,
changes.
2 Alpha.
It's starting to
With
level
that,
out.
we have had confirmation of MECO, stage SEP, and the ignition of our MVAC engine on board stage 2. Our
I
next
just
major
saw this, I
milestone
had
is
to go
going to be
live,
the
guys,
beginning of
sorry.
stage 1 boost back burn,
Couldn't help myself.
which is expected in just a
Yeah.
couple of seconds
Are you
here.
here? Okay, hang on. I don't know where my phone is.
Of course, if you are just joining us, you've got views
it.
of our first stage on the left-hand side of your screen and of MVAC burning with our Crew 9 astronauts aboard up in space on the right-hand side
Cookie,
of
how
your
you
screen.
doing?
Now we
Can you
are
hear
coming
me?
up on 3 minutes and 20 seconds since liftoff today, traveling over 4,000 miles
It's
per
glowing
hour
orange, buddy.
and
Look at how
76
flat
miles
that's becoming.
downrange.
The higher they get.
Just wait for the
I
rat
guess
to
it's
come around.
the Oh, no, not curved again. Hold on.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Flat curve, flat curve.
As our first stage makes its way back
Rocket
to Earth, we are
Man.
tracking a landing attempt today at landing zone 1, not too far from where we lifted off in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Look, see how flat that looks there?
Nominal
No,
trajectory.
why did I switch camera angles? Why?
Confirmation there that both vehicles
Copy nominal trajectory.
are on nominal trajectories. Everything looking good. Everything is
nominal.
looking good.
It's all nominal.
And
there
we're
it is.
getting
There's
good
a flat.
performance
There you
on
go.
that single
Back there.
Merlin vacuum
Now they're
engine
gonna
on the
change it.
second
Watch.
stage. The
So we
crew's
get to the
G
horizon
load
when
dips
it
right
gets
now.
level.
We are going
Oh,
to
no,
prepare to hit the
back to it.
separation event. Right now they're about 1 G, which is about what we're used to experiencing on Earth.
You ever feel like you've been lied to? Just tell me.
3 times my life.
It's back to flat.
Crew's traveling almost 5,000 miles per hour now and 105
5,000, you
miles
see that
in
shit?
altitude.
Man, they're burning rubber, dude. They're moving.
Bro, 5,000.
As we await the entry burn for our first stage, you
5,000
are getting
miles an
great
hour, dude.
views of
That's
it
what it
on the
looks like right
left-hand
there.
side of your screen. You can also see 2 of our titanium grid fins, which are the primary mechanical structures.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
Confirmation there for
They
Mission
switched
Control
it
that
again.
everything is still looking good.
Freedom copies, nominal trajectory.
cut.
Now, as I mentioned, those grid fins are the primary mechanical
Ooh,
structures
back
that
to
we
it. There you
use
go.
to steer
Starting
the
to get flat
booster
again.
back toward its
Hold on.
landing zone, which today is
Watch it.
LZ1 at Cape Canaveral. Just as kind of a quick point of reference, those grid fins are about 4 by 5
Ooh.
feet, so roughly the size of a coffee table.
A coffee table. They're landing on fins the size of coffee tables, dude.
Okay, dude.
I know. The sturdy fucking fins.
Getting our first tracking shots of the booster on its way back to Earth. Again, we are tracking the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen and MVAC up in space on the right.
I saw the jets come on.
And we do continue to hear good calls for that second stage. Again, we will see this continue to fire until close to 9 minutes into the flight. Now at 5 minutes and 45 seconds since liftoff today. This is accelerating Dragon to more than 17,000.
SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
More good news.
Freedom copy.
Say hi to
nominal
Jeff.
trajectory.
He's in the house.
This second stage is bringing Dragon to more than 17,000 miles per hour. That puts our crew in orbit.
Cookie's on his phone.
And the single
so
Merlin vacuum engine can produce over 220,000 pounds of thrust in the vacuum of space.
Oh yeah. How do they get that focus like that from that far away? Look how flat that one is, buddy. Oh, not anymore.
But these two problems, one inch pointing out.
Stage 1 does perform 3 burns on its way back to Earth. The first is the boost back burn, followed shortly thereafter by the entry burn.
It's fucking.
Slow the vehicle down before it reaches the denser parts of the Earth's atmosphere.
Dragon,
oh, there it is.
SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
Nominal trajectory is there from mission control.
Freedom copies. Nominal trajectory.
Nominal trajectory. Oh.
That entry burn is, of course, followed by the landing
there it is
burn.
again.
During which time we'll light 3 of the Merlin engines on board the first stage.
Yeah, the horizon looks pretty damn straight.
And we expect to see that landing burn just about a minute before we expect Dragon
Leave the
to be
camera
inserted
there.
into orbit. So we have 2 very exciting phases of
landing,
flight, both for our first stage and
we go.
our Crew 9 astronauts happening here at the same time.
I know. Oh, watch him. There he goes. Whoa.
So look, on the right, there's.
Woo-hoo. Wow, man. Look at that. Boom, touchdown, y'all.
Stage 2, FTS has paced.
There's flat as fuck, dude. Look at
So a
that
great
horizon.
touchdown of stage 1 there just a second ago.
The
And now, of
camera's
course, we are
gonna change in a
continuing to
second. Hold on.
follow our
Oh, there he
Crew
goes.
9 astronauts on their way to space.
But it already
And we
landed.
continue to get good calls for this second stage. That Merlin
gotta
vacuum
rescue those
engine continuing
astronauts,
to
dude.
fire
They're
and propel
dire
our crew.
straits.
Now moving over 12,600 miles per hour and 611
flat
miles
again.
downrange.
12,000.
Just over 8 minutes
I
since
know,
liftoff
Jeff.
today, so we are expecting to see this continue to fire until just about the 9-minute mark,
Don't
at
tell
which
them.
point this engine will cut off. And of course, Dragon will coast for
And
a
they're
few
going to catch
minutes,
up with
still
something
attached to the
smaller at
second stage.
1,700 miles an hour.
Look how real it looks.
Yeah. That's going to be an amazing dock. I want to see it. They're going around 5,000. They'll slow down, I guess, I suppose.
I could tear
That
this
call,
fucking-
Copy, Shannon.
that call is for
I just
Shannon,
had to-
Ireland.
had
That
to
would
put
be
this on the air just for the hell
abort
of it,
zone if we
for
were to abort
entertainment
at this
purposes.
point in the flight. However, we are continuing to hear
Well,
good
we're going
calls
to change
about
camera
Dragon's
angles in a second.
performance.
5, 4, 3, 2. No, they're going to leave it. Hold on.
MVAC shut down.
Wow. Where'd the Earth curve go?
Confirmation of the Merlin vacuum engine shutting down.
I just don't know, man. They're at an angle, I
SpaceX,
guess.
nominal orbit insertion.
no longer centered on the Earth, so it's not going
Good
to be
news
curved.
there from
And freedom
mission,
copies. Nominal orbital insertion.
Oh, you mean it's
from
centered
mission
on the
control
rocket
and our
there?
crew
That
that we
looks
have
like
had
it's
nominal
pasted
orbit
in there.
insertion.
Yeah.
Launch escape system disarmed.
That didn't look real, dude. Sorry. That was in a
Freedom
blue
copies. LES
green
disarmed.
room or something. Look at that. Don't it look pasted? Look at that.
In,
Seriously.
in 9 quick minutes, we
That's a
now
load
have
of
2
crap right
new
there.
crew members on their way to the International Space Station, having taken off from Space Launch Complex 40. The crew now being in a
Who's
good
banging
or
around?
expected orbit. We'll continue to coast for these few minutes. Inside the capsule of our 2 crew members, Nick Hague and Alexander Gorbanov. They are just continuing to stay in their suits and in their seats during this dynamic portion of the
Wow.
flight. We're going to continue to coast for a few minutes after this second stage engine cutoff. This allows the rates and motion from that long burn to settle out. there are some small reaction thrusters on the upper stage or the upper part of the second
True,
stage that can
Jeff,
be used
they
to counteract
can't.
any residual motion. That
They just
basically makes
did,
sure
though.
we're in a stable coast before Dragon separates from Falcon, and that'll happen
You saw that
about
one.
12 minutes into the flight. So about a minute and a half from now, we expect to see Dragon actually separating from the second stage. Again, we did hear the crew has been successfully inserted into a good orbit. And again, this is them now in
magic,
microgravity,
dude.
one of them, Alexander Gorbanov, for the very first time.
17,500 miles per hour, and they're not even shaking or nothing. Yeah.
So as Leah mentioned, we are now just a few minutes away from the separation of Dragon
Well, they got a
from
real
stage
rigid
2,
ship, dude.
during which time a number of activation
but it
checkouts
really gives
occur.
a lot when it hits turbulence, So
automatically, first we're going to be checking out 12 of the Draco maneuvering thrusters all around the service section of the Dragon spacecraft. We're also, of course, going to get ready for that nose cone opening, which will allow Dragon to dock with the International Space Station about 28 hours from now. The nose cone stays closed for the flight uphill to help protect against all of the guidance, navigation, and control sensors and Dragon's docking adapter.
Uphill. I've never heard that
It's also
one.
covering 4 of our Draco thrusters that will be used for the majority of different phasing burns required as Dragon chases down the space station.
The Dragon is chasing down the
We are currently standing by for that separation, which could happen anytime in the next couple of minutes.
Any minute now.
Currently, you can see the crew is just relaxing in their seats. They are definitely vigilant, though. They are able to monitor those crew displays in front of them, keep up with what's going on in the mission. They could take control if they needed to. However, it's been a seamless ride to space today.
Good views there, looking up into Dragon's trunk, looking at the heat shield on the bottom of Dragon. That Crew 9 will use when it returns home early next year.
Wow. I know. Whoa.
Dragon SpaceX, Dragon separation confirmed.
There.
Oh, see the cut?
There you heard from Mission
just
Control.
From the video
Dragon Chief Engineer on Countdown 1. Nick, Alex, on behalf of the entire team, we thank you for flying with Falcon 9 today and wish you a great mission.
You go, guys.
Freedom, this is Launch Director on Countdown. On behalf of the entire SpaceX Launch and Recovery team, I'd like to extend our congratulations to the entire Crew 9 team.
Congratulations.
Zena, Stephanie, Nick, Alex, Butch, and Sunny. It's an honor to be a part of this mission with all of you. I'd also like to give a shout out to Falcon. Bundle in the league, baby. Godspeed, Crew 9.
Shout out to dumb fucks that don't exist. Go ahead. I'm sure you
do you see the curve, dude? Look at the curve. Watch that thing,
Thank
dude.
you guys. We had the opportunity to meet so
It's
many
warping
people
back
that were
up again.
involved with the Falcon 9, and along the way,
this is all camera work, dude.
It was a sweet ride. I'm pretty sure my youngest son would say it was Sigma.
It's
Alex
Sigma.
has got a few words to add
Delta.
as well.
Beta Chi. Sponsored by Prada.
And all the agencies that made this launch possible. Roscosmos, NASA, Big SpaceX. And thank you to my family and friends for
Yep,
the
there he goes,
support.
Draco.
And also I'd like to express my gratitude to the hundreds of thousands of people around the world who are involved in the development of space technologies and to move humanity forward.
We can't understand you, dude.
It's also their accomplishment. Хочу сказать спасибо Роскосмосу, НАСА совместно со
Don't speak Russian.
за успешный запуск человека.
Let alone you're muffled as fuck.
И также благодарить родных и близких за
We got bad microphones in those suits. Well, you think you watched enough, Ryan? Or you want to see him dock? It's going to take forever to catch up with the ISS, though.
It's going to be ridiculously stupid, but go ahead and watch
Incredible words from our commander and great views of Dragon
That's
up
why
in
I'm
orbit on
watching
your
it,
screen
dude.
right now.
Stupid. Go for it.
It's ridiculously stupid.
Stupid.
The curve would not bend to back up again.
It's been about
it wouldn't
14
go
minutes
to
and 30
concave.
seconds since.
It would get more tight as you got farther away, you dumbass. It doesn't do the opposite.
It's doing the opposite right now.
Coming up on 15 minutes now since liftoff today. You got a quick
You
look
tell
inside
them.
the capsule.
Dragon SpaceX, we had a nominal dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkout.
And that's not 250 miles up, neither.
You can space it. They use humidifier because there's always water up there.
Freedom copies all.
Next thing you know, they'll be
Confirmation
talking
there that our nose cone deploy is underway. That means
Jeff,
that the
can you
6
hear us,
hooks that
dude?
hold the nose cone in place
What's
during
up?
launch and the ascent portions of flight
Oh,
have begun to
nothing,
retract.
man.
That will allow the nose
I
cone
just
to
saw
start
this
to
live
swing
and I thought
open
I'd
and
stream
deploy.
it.
That will uncover a
Make
number of
comments.
critical
Throw
systems for the
popcorn
flight up
at
to
the
the
screen.
space station, including the forward bulkhead
Smear
thrusters
peanut
and the
butter and
docking
crap all
hatch.
over it. Don't want to
Incredible
fuck with the
views from our
dragon.
crew up in space on your screen right now, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to the view
We're
out of
chasing
Dragon's
the
window
dragon.
as they make their way to the space station.
We're
I
making
can
our
only
way to the
imagine.
space station.
And that journey to the space station will take about 28 hours, so they won't
Well, I'm
arrive
not waiting
until
28
tomorrow
hours.
afternoon. In the meantime, they will have the opportunity to
Mr.
get
Anus.
out of their suits, to enjoy
You
the
want to watch
ride.
this
They're
feed
going
for
to shift
28
into
hours,
some
Ryan?
off-duty time. That allows them to prepare any food that they
Check
would
out how
want
fake
to.
this
That
looks,
allows
dude.
them to maybe even call down to the ground. They will also
you see the backdrop
obviously get
behind
some
these
sleep
two
before a
idiots
really
right
big
here?
day tomorrow, monitoring the arrival and docking to
Nada.
the International Space Station.
Nope.
Of course, we're going to cover all of that live. I'm really looking forward to
That's
seeing
high.
2 more crew members float into the
I'll show you what I'm
orbiting
saying.
laboratory.
Right here at the background behind them. Look,
And if
look
you're
at
just
that.
joining us, we did lift off
That's
now
green
at
screen.
16
The
minutes
whole damn
and
thing.
29 seconds ago. That was right on time at
I can
1:17
tell.
p.m. Eastern Time from Space Launch
You can see it
Complex
fade in
40
and out of her clothes.
down at Cape Canaveral Space Force
Oh, they got
Station
somebody pushing
in
some shit down the
Florida.
floor over
We have
there.
2 members on board Dragon today. That's NASA astronaut Nick Hague, who's serving as the
Whoa.
commander, and Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov, who's making his very first flight to space. Once they arrive at the International Space Station
Gravy.
tomorrow afternoon, they will be joining 9 other crew members on orbit. They'll be up there for about a week. A week is probably the best guess, until the Crew 8 team, it is time for that crew to come home. Of course, they launched about 7 months ago at this point, and they will undock after they have completed a handover period with the Crew 9 crew, bringing them up to speed on everything that they've been working on for the last 7 months in orbit. So once they depart, we'll be back down to our typical approximately 7 people living and working aboard the International Space Station.
7 people? Oh my gosh. 7 people? How could they stand each other after 7?
We're getting really
after all those
spectacular
days?
views
No
from
way.
up in space today.
You're kidding.
You know they got water sitting on a table somewhere on the Chinese side in a glass.
Shot there of our MVAC engine. We did get confirmation several minutes ago of SES-1.
We know that nose cone opening is underway as well. Those are a series of hooks and latches that allow the nose cone to open. And that nose cone is closed during launch to protect the docking hatch, to protect 4 bulkhead thrusters that we will use for some of the larger burns that help us get to the International Space Station.
One of the other things we're doing right now is going ahead and opening the ECLSS system, which stands for the Environmental Control and Life Support System, which will be activated inside of Dragon. As Leah mentioned earlier, soon our crew will be able to get their visors open and get out of their spacesuits and settle in for that 28-hour ride to the International Space Station. Good views there of the opening of Dragon's nose cone on the left-hand side of your screen.
Coming up on 19 minutes since
Oh boy, the nose
liftoff
cone
today,
opens.
the crew again had a
Did
good
it?
orbital
What's up,
insertion, and that actually puts 14
Hey,
people currently
Look,
in
there's
low
in the
Earth
house
orbit.
and
That
you.
includes the
And me.
those living on the
I know.
International Space Station right
God,
now,
I'm here
as
somewhere.
well as those living on the Chinese Space
Look at that
Station. So a total of
round Earth,
14
man.
humans are now not off the planet, but
God.
rather orbiting around it.
Oh, they're orbiting around it. Shit. Look at those sun rays. The spotlight's doing its job, ain't it?
More good views from our Dragon nose cone on the left-hand side of your screen. As
There's
it
more
very
good news
gradually swings
from the
open.
Dragon nose
Obviously,
cone,
in space,
ladies and
everything
gentlemen.
we do has an equal and opposite reaction. So slow and steady really wins the race here.
True, Jeff, true.
Again, now 20 minutes since liftoff today.
20 minutes.
Dragon is flying
one of the
free
other
from the second stage. And it looks like they're about to enter an orbital nighttime. So now that they're at orbital velocity at 17,500 miles per hour, they are going to see 16 sunrises
You see how
and
fast they're
sunsets
going? What did
a
he say
day.
again? How much? 26,000 miles? No, he didn't say that.
Again, it was an on-time liftoff at 1:17 p.m. Eastern time from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida.
Well, it's
and
pretty
a clean
flat there.
ride uphill.
Hey, don't tell me that camera's not focusing on the Earth at all. Oh, shit.
If it was possible, they'd have every angle covered, dude. You know
We've had
that.
some good communication
Yeah,
from
dude.
Mission Control
And I don't know
to
why
our
they
Crew
don't.
9 astronauts
If this is
already
real.
today. One of the things you may one of the
Well,
things you may
that's
hear
how you
every
know
time
it's
we
not, dude.
communicate with the crew is a slight beep beforehand.
How do you
That's
spell
called a
five?
Pindar tone and actually dates all the way back to the early days of human spaceflight and is effectively
I
a
got it
radio
right.
signal indicating that we're communicating between the crew in orbit and our mission control team on the ground.
We now have views back inside the capsule.
Nice suits, though. I'm
Dragon
telling you.
SpaceX, we have
They're
a
spiffy.
nominal nose cone opening.
Now the paper's floating
We
around.
have just about 3 minutes here left in the ground station pass. If you've got any fluffy stowaways you'd like to introduce.
Stowaways.
Fluffy stowaways, really?
These good trick or check out good
Fluffy
nose
stowaways.
opening. And
They got plankton
This
on
is the
the
point where
glass.
they all
have
get naked,
a,
right?
furry friend with me.
I hope so. It'd be more
They-
entertaining.
They do something fun, right? Like at least that'd be worth it, you know?
Hey, Vicky's in the house, dude.
What's
Miss
up,
B's here.
Vicky? Hi, Vicky. How are you? Nice to see you, my dear. You
If
just
you want
happen
to
to
pop
be
in,
So
Vicky, you come in here and chew these
say hi to
boys
us.
up for a bit.
you can tell us to shut up,
Yeah, SpaceX
Yeah.
Freedom. So yeah, I've got a
sweetie.
little Falcon here. I love the package of Falcon 9, Crew 9.
Sweetie, I know.
Yeah,
So
we've got
Better
a
watch
Falcon on
out,
board
Jono.
with us.
watch out,
DJ's
Jono.
coming for you,
She's
boy.
taken, yeah. She'll come for you, bro.
Was on my first flight with
Take care
Alexei
of
and I, and with Alexei and I and Christina, and now me and Alex. So
Me
say
and
hello
Alex.
to Aurora.
You know.
To Aurora. Oh, boy. Another place that's named after some dumb shit.
Does he got a stuffed animal in his hand, dude? Yeah, he does.
And we see your Dragon.
Yeah, they're
Actually,
playing with the
good view
monkey.
right now because we're looking at the display cam.
And with the monkey.
Yeah, no, it's an owl, I think. Yeah, it's a bird of some kind.
Sure
It's
it
a
is.
stuffed animal. Yeah. It's going to get
Oh,
caught
yeah.
in something, dude.
Oh, so they're allowed to take
call,
their...
but nominal TCS
Take
reconfiguration
their
stuffed
as well
animals
as port
and-
bulkhead
yeah,
They're
that's
reconfiguration.
proving that they're in 0G, dude. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, that's
They're
all
trying.
it is. Yeah, see?
Yeah,
We're in
Freedom
space.
70.
If they were really
Good,
just flying
take a
through
check out.
space, they wouldn't have to do shit like this.
No, if they were
Look.
really doing it, yeah, they wouldn't have
No
to.
gravity.
Exactly. Why do they have to show us that? Like, we already know, right? Supposedly,
Good
we already
God.
know.
Spectacular views of our Crew 9
How's that work?
astronauts
is
and
PJ
zero
on
G
right now?
indicator up in orbit.
Hmm.
Human spaceflight
Might
has
be.
come
PJ's
so
live, dude.
far in the
Okay.
last 5
Is
years
it?
with Dragon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since Demo 2 in May of 2020,
go
SpaceX's
see
Dragon
PJ.
fleet
I
has
forgot he
launched a
was
total of
out.
54 crew members to space.
I just
You
read
were-
that.
34 on behalf of NASA
Well,
and their
say
partners,
goodbye to the
and 20
Dragons. They're
commercial
going to be going for
astronauts,
28
including
hours.
the first 2 all-civilian missions to space and the
Go over
first
say hi to
3
PJ.
all-private
Yeah, we wanna
passenger
watch them dance
missions
around in
to
their
the
Prada. We're
International
good.
Space Station.
In addition
Alright.
to flying people,
We'll be over there,
excuse me,
PJ.
SpaceX's
PJ's
Dragon spacecraft also enables researchers
I wanna end
the
this
opportunity to fly critical science to orbit.
Goodbye.
Bye.